Hi, I'm Donald McIntyre, founder of Etherplan, and in this video I am going to explain my proposal to the ETC ecosystem called Integrating Bit Gold inside Ethereum Classic. I'm going to read the article and explain part by part. Integrating Bit Gold inside Ethereum Classic. This is a system that would be launched in parallel to the current logarithmically decreasing supply of Ethereum Classic ETC. 1. The system is a smart contract that gets all the blocks produced until the present and credits to all the accounts of all the miners who produced them retroactively the non-fungible bit gold units, BGUs, of each block. These BGUs units or BGU units are the proofs per block or block hashes, which are the real units of value in proof of work blockchains. They can be thought of NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Here it's important to explain Bit Gold, which was invented by Nick Szabo in early 1998. You can Google it. It's in his blog. Basically, after Adam Back invented Hashcash using proof of work in 1997, Nick Szabo was the one who realized that the proof of work could be used as a sort of scarcity in the digital world, no? Or in the internet. Just as what he realized, the analogy that he did is that if gold in the real world, to get 1 ounce of gold requires a lot of work and investment capital by miners, and it's very difficult to get just 1 ounce of gold. He could see that the ounce of gold is a proof that a lot of work was done, because to extract gold from nature is very costly. Today, gold is trading, an ounce of gold is trading more or less at $1,800, and it costs more or less that minus the margin of the miner to extract 1 ounce of gold from nature. So 1 ounce of gold, in a way, if you look at it the other way, is a proof of a lot of work done in the physical world. And Nick Szabo, what he realized is that proof of work could be used as that. If you get an arbitrary data and you create a hash using proof of work, which makes the computer work a lot, or many computers work a lot, that work makes the hash, the resulting hash or cryptographic stamp or cryptographic proof analogous to an ounce of gold. So the hash in itself, because it required a lot of work, it is digital scarcity in the internet or within computer networks, is analogous to an ounce of gold. And in modern times, now that NFTs were invented, because an ounce of gold is fungible, but a hash is non-fungible because it's unique. Each hash in Bitcoin, for example, in each Bitcoin block or in each Ethereum Classic block is unique and is not fungible with the previous one or the next one or any other hash. So in this case, it is very similar to collectibles rather than gold, which is very fungible and you can make coins, etc. And they're all essentially the same as long as the gold is the same, not the same purity. In the case of Bit Gold, it is analogous in terms of scarcity, but it is also similar to NFTs because each block hash is not fungible because they have different difficulties, and the miners could have spent in some blocks more energy and other blocks less energy, or in the past blocks were less heavy or required less work. In the present, they require more work than in the past because there's this competition in mining, and in the future they're going to require even more work. So this is why I do the analogy of NFTs, which is great because now the NFT market is so developed and growing so much that it's much easier to understand, and all the tools and ways of operating NFTs already exist, no? and are evolving. So the key here is to understand that Bitcoin Bitcoin, the coin itself, or ETC, the coin itself, is really an arbitrary coin created by the community to pay for the miner when they come with a hash per block. Now, each block has a hash that required a lot of work by the miners, and one of the miners found it, and that miner goes to the network proving that he found the block, and the network arbitrarily credits the account of that miner, currently 3.2 ETC, or in the case of Bitcoin, 6.25 Bitcoins. But it's important to separate that the hash itself of the block is the Bit Gold, or the NFT in my analogy here. And the coin is just an arbitrarily created coin to pay to the miner. So the real value in Bitcoin and Ethereum Classic and other proof of work networks is really the block hashes. Those are the ones backing the coin. And the monetary policy is a socially created device to pay the miners. So this is important for the rest of this article. So the idea in point one, then, okay, now what's happening is that all the blocks in ETC, it has more or less 3.5 million blocks built until now since 2015. Those bit golds or NFTs in each block, or the hashes of each blocks, are really just buried in the network, and they're not being used, and ETC was issued against them by paying rewards per block for each miner. So the important thing is that this thing, point one, what it's doing, okay, let's do this. Let's liberate all those NFTs or hashes per block, which are the real value, the real bit gold, or the proofs of scarcity, and let's credit them to the accounts like NFTs of all the miners of the past, because it's easy to do, because you just run the database and you can see that in each block the miner put an account where the network credited them their coins. No, so we create a smart contract and we credit to that same account for each miner, because they are the ones who found and did the work, the NFT for each block. 2. Now the owner of each account of each mined block of the past has a BGU in a smart contract. However, as the corresponding ETC coins of those past 13.5 million blocks are freely circulating, the coins were issued, and many miners just get the coins and sell them because they need to pay for the electricity, etc., and they may save something in ETC, or they might sell them in the market and buy for fiat, or to buy Bitcoin, or to buy Ethereum. So because miners up to now didn't know that they could hold the Bit Gold, they just used the coins that they got as normal money, to pay for their expenses and for saving or store value. However, as the corresponding ETC coins of those, point 3, however, as the corresponding ETC coins of those past 13.5 million blocks are freely circulating, those BGUs are locked, so they can't move them. Okay, so if we're going to back the coin ETC, or replace or create a parallel system that is Bit Gold on one side and ETC coins on the other, but that the ETC coins are convertible into Bit Gold, then we cannot give the miners the coins that we gave them in the past, or we're going to give them in the future, plus the Bit Gold. We either have to be sound money, you either need to give them one or the other. So what I'm saying here is that for all the Bit Gold that the miners have created and will create in the future, to create this parallel system, they get the coins per block, which are now 3.2 ETC per block, and the ability in this smart contract to get, if they want, the BGU, the Bit Gold, or the NFT. But if they choose one, if they choose to keep the coins, they cannot get the BGU. And if they want to get the BGU, they have to send those coins, and they liberate, in a way, they free the BGU, so they can transfer them and buy it and sell it, but they cannot recover the coins again. If not, it would be oversupply of both products. 4, the only way to unlock the BGUs is to acquire coins or get them from their other accounts and transfer them to the smart contract. So basically, if I am Ethermine, for example, that is a big miner in ETC, and they mine block 1 million, which was years ago, they're gonna suddenly, if this is implemented, they're gonna get the Bit Gold. But how do they unlock it? If they already used the coins from that block specifically, they didn't save them. It was 5 ETC at that time. So they're going to, so the only way for them, again, because this has to be convertible exactly as they were made, they have to get somewhere. If they have 5 coins in some other account, or if they can go and buy them in Binance or Coinbase, get 5 coins, and then send them to a smart contract, and then they can unlock them. 5, the amount of coins needed to release their BGUs is the same that were issued when the blocks were created. Like I said, no, 5 ETC from block 1 to 5 million, 4 ETC from block 5 million and 1 to 10 million, 3.2 ETC, which is the current era. You can go and check. You can Google the Ethereum Classic monetary policy to know all these details. 3.2 ETC from block 10 million and 1 to the present, because we are in block 13,500,000 or 600 more or less. And this era is going to end on block 15 million. And as from block 15 million and 1 to 20 million, it's going to pay 2.56. So the amount of coins needed to release the BGU. So basically, for the path, they have to acquire the coins somehow and send them to this smart contract to release the BGU if they want. If not, they can just stay as they are now. But if the market of Bit Gold in ETC goes up, of the BGUs, then they're going to want to acquire the coins and go and get the BGU. So that's a free market choice by the miners of the past. And then for the future blocks, they just need whatever the amount of coins that they get per block to release their BGUs if they want. If not, they can keep the coins or spend them. But they're always going to have that right to get the BGU. 6, for future blocks, the account used to earn rewards belonging to the miners or mining pool who worked on it will get their non-fungible BGU and the rewards according to the ETC monetary policy as usual. But the miner or mining pool has the choice of using coins or the BGU. Again, one or the other, because if you release both, first you are arbitrarily increasing the monetary policy, because now the miners are getting the coins plus Bit Gold, and we need to have sound money. So what we want is to do this convertibility where they have the choice. In future blocks, say in block 16 million, they are going to get 2.56 ETC. So at that time, they can choose to send those 2.56 ETC to the smart contract and release the BGU and use it, sell it, or do whatever they want. Or they can just keep the BGU there and sell the coins, because for some reason they prefer to do that. Or they can just save both and keep them, no? Example, if they send the coins to the smart contract, they can release the BGU. If not, they can use the coins as usual, or they can just keep holding both indefinitely, what I just said. Point number 7. Once the BGUs are released, they can trade in a free decentralized market. I think it must be easy to build a market where BGU owners can put their units for sale and bidders can buy them, setting a market price for BGUs as NFTs are traded today. So this is the great thing, because NFTs are trading so efficiently and they're non-fungibles. So basically, the market is already organized for BGUs, for Bit Gold inside ETC. So it's going to be very easy and very efficient to do it. Point Point number 8. Did I read point number 7? Once the BGUs are released, they can trade in a decentralized market. Once BGUs are released, point 8. Once BGUs are released, they can't be sent back to the smart contract to get the original coins again. Those are technically burned. So this is important. If ETC had started as Bit Gold in 2015, then today all miners would have gotten, since the beginning, always the NFT. And ETC, the coin, which is again a fiat created coin or a community coin, just arbitrarily created to pay the miners, would not exist. So we would only have Bit Gold, and then all this Bit Gold inside ETC, these 13.5 million NFTs would be trading, and all sorts of things that I'm going to explain could be done with them, and that would be the value in the network. But so now that that didn't happen, so we have all these, we have like 130 million ETC issued. If we want to create a parallel Bit Gold system as a backup to the coin system that we have, then it has to be convertible. And whatever Bit Gold is released has to burn the corresponding ETC that was issued for them. That's the logic, no? It is basically to keep the sound money. If not, we are just duplicating the value inside ETC arbitrarily, and I think that maybe ETC would crash because of this oversupply, and would be also very arbitrary to just give the past miners all this value suddenly for work that they haven't done. So that's another thing. Work has been done and coins were given. So if we are represented that liberating or freeing that the representation of that work, then we need to take out the coins to be able to free them and trade them in the market, because if not, we would be creating Bit Gold but with no additional work. So to keep the one-to-one match between the work done in the past and the Bit Gold, we need to retire the coins each time each Bit Gold is released. So I think I'm by 9. So once free BGUs are in the market, they may be used to build ingots. This is important, as per the original Bit Gold, and to back other coins or tokens that people may be free to issue as they please. Well, this was a key of Bit Gold because Nick Szabo realized that you could go building Bit Gold, but Bit Gold is not really like physical gold, because physical gold is fungible, but the proof of work hashes are not fungible. He said, okay, the next level of Bit Gold was, once it's created, people can create what he called bundles. I call them ingots, which are like gold bars. Basically, where if you have a bunch of non-fungible tokens or non-fungible hashes or BGUs, and you group them in a sort of ingot or bar that is worth, say $10,000 in the market, they're all collectively worth $10,000, then that bundle looks like a bar of gold. This is an invention by Nick Szabo. Everything I'm saying here are all inventions by Nick Szabo from 1998. This blog post that I showed is just a blog post that he wrote in 2005 to explain it, but he had already explained it in the cypherpunk mailing lists. So these bundles are important because if the hashes are non-fungible, but you create bundles with arbitrary groups of hashes, but they're homogeneous bars that are all worth around $1,000, then you're starting to make them fungible. The problem is that, like gold bars, they're too big. Now $1,000 for one coin is too much. or $10,000 for one coin is too much. So the idea of Nick Szabo, okay, now that we have these bundles, we can issue coins, arbitrary coins, on top of them. So in my idea here, in Nick Szabo's idea, I think it was a fixed amount of coins similar to Bitcoin, But in my idea here is no. Let's free all the NFTs or the hashes per block. There's going to be 13.5 million NFTs released with this system, um, and let's have people freely bundle them and back whatever coins they want. So today we have ERC20 tokens in Ethereum and other blockchains, and in ETC as well. Well, no, if people want to create their own coins for their own use cases, etc., let's free the Bit Gold inside ETC, and let's have a free market create new coins, very much like was the world before fiat currency. Um, goldsmiths and banks, they would acquire gold or get gold deposits from their customers, and against them they would issue their own coin. So you had the dollar of Western Bank and you have the dollar of the Eastern Bank, and people would believe one more than the other, so one coin would be worth a little bit more and the other one would be worth a little bit less, or just because they were in different states. If you used the Eastern dollar in the West, maybe it would be worth less just because of the hassle to go and get the gold on the other side of the country and stuff like that. So we could create a free market of coins, but they would all be really backed by the Bit Gold inside ETC. 10. Free BGUs or ingots or these gold bars, Bit Gold bars, can be traded or just held as a store value. But this is very important. So now with this parallel system, the market in ETC would have the option of buying and selling just the individual NFTs, which are non-fungible, so people can just go buying them. Or people could build and trade also these gold bars. So if for some reason the standard becomes that the gold bars all have to be around $10,000 or X weight or X work parameter, and they're all going to be more or less worthless. So people could also buy and sell the gold bars, not the Bit Gold bars inside ETC, not only the non-fungible units. And we would have on top of them, for whoever wants to create coins backed by these gold bars, Bit Gold bars, we're going to have that layer also that people can trade. So it's going to be a very vibrant and interesting market to see how it would evolve if this idea is implemented. The other thing is that ETC, not all ETC necessarily is going to be exchange for Bit Gold. So we're still going to have ETC. Remember that ETC is going to continue perpetually issuing it's going to issue the reward per block, and the miner is going to have the option of transforming it into Bit Gold, the BGU. So we're going to have ETC still in the market. So this is why I call it a parallel system. Now that I explained this, so this I put here just a JPEG that would be an example of the visualization of these BGU units. This is the hash of actually block 13,500,000. This is the real hash, and this is the data of that block. So this would be the proof and the NFT, and it could be represented with a JPEG like this one. Or artists could do whatever JPEGs they want. The JPEG in itself is not important. What is important is that they represent an NFT inside the blockchain, non-fungible unit, an object inside the blockchain that is scarce, unique in the world, and it's valuable just because of that. The JPEG could acquire some value if people add some art or something, or because they were older than the newer ones or stuff like that. But the important thing is that they represent visually the underlying real asset. So that's the idea. Again, in terms of this proposal, it's not a proposal to implement now. I don't think that is something that is needed. Bitcoin, ETC, and Litecoin, etc., are all these really Bit Gold machines that have been creating Bit Gold for years, but the Bit Gold is trapped inside these networks, and this is a system to release the Bit Gold, but it has to absorb all the coins arbitrary coins or community cash or community coins community money that I call, to release the gold. And this is an idea. It can be just stay there and implemented in the future. I think it's a good idea. I would implement it now because it preserves the current monetary policy and it's reverting back to a more secure model, which was the original model that Bitcoin couldn't do. Why didn't they do it? Because there were no NFTs at the time. There was no markets, efficient markets. And I think that Satoshi Nakamoto did a shortcut and said, okay, let's skip this Bit Gold thing. Let's create the Bit Gold, but let's give a coin per block. So we skip all the stuff in the middle, which is difficult to build. No, but now everything is built. There's efficient NFT market. There's like Uniswap. There's efficient market, decentralized markets today. People are buying NFTs outside the blockchain or inside the blockchains and then transferring them between their accounts inside the blockchain. I think now it's an optimal time. But this can just stay there as an idea and be implemented in 10 years, 20 years, because of what I'm going to read now. I think that the above establishes the backup Bit Gold system Nick Szabo has talked about in the past in the case the community goes crazy with a monetary policy or the fee system doesn't work. So this is the thing. What I described is that Bit Gold is created for every block, and then the network is giving 3.2 ETC per block. Those 3.2 units are just an arbitrary parameter in the software. It's not really gold. The gold is the NFT and the proof. So what are the risks? This has been we all say that Bitcoin and ETC and LTC etc. are digital gold or digital silver etc. It is a lot, because to create the coins, they are only created under the condition that work was done. So they are backed by work. But the units, the NFTs themselves, are not the ones that are circulating in the networks. It's just these arbitrary tokens. And these arbitrary cryptocurrencies or tokens or coins can be manipulable or manipulated. For example, Ethereum has changed the monetary policy 3 or 4 times. ETC actually had a monetary policy, which was the original one of Ethereum, and we changed it to be an imitation of Bitcoin, where ETC, instead of printing 5 coins per block forever, which was the original monetary policy, it went from 5, then 5 million blocks later to 4, and then to 3.2, then it's going to go to 2.56 in May of next year, and like that is going to go perpetually, just like Bitcoin, and it's going to, in the end, issue 210 million coins just to imitate Bitcoin. Okay, the thing is that we changed the monetary policy, and that shows, and because Ethereum does it, and other coins, if they haven't done it, they're going to do it. It's because it's just a parameter. If all the nodes in the globe or in the world and the miners agree to the change, it may be changed. Bit Gold, you cannot change it. You just have to work and work and work to create it, just like gold in the real world. So that's why it's a much more sound system. So in theory, Bitcoin, we all say that it's digital gold, and that there's never going to be more than 21 million, but that's in a way it's not proven yet. I believe it is going to be like that, and in the same case in ETC, not because of the force of physics, which is the energy spent, but because to coordinate the whole community globally, to change the monetary policy, first it would be very controversial. Second, there's so many nodes in so different countries and cultures that it's going to be very difficult to coordinate. So I think the monetary policies of Bitcoin and ETC and Litecoin and the other proof of work coins are pretty safe in that sense. And it's okay to call them digital gold, because that's the aim. But in truth, it's just a parameter that the social layer can change. This is just a social layer agreement. So it's much less secure than if we had the real Bit Gold. So this is just a backup system, and Nick Szabo has spoken a bit about, and many other people talk about this backup system, which is okay. Bitcoin, because each coin in Bitcoin is traceable to the original Coinbase, which is the account of the block of the miner that was created, then it can perfectly migrate as well to BitGold. So people say, if for some reason the social layer goes crazy and starts printing more Bitcoins than the 21 million, okay, at least a subgroup of us could turn around and create BitGold inside Bitcoin, or in this case inside ETC, and go back and revert back to a more safer monetary policy. In the case of the fee system, the doubt is, which I think is also a low risk, is that in the case of Bitcoin, the fees are like $4, $2, $3, $4 per transaction. It's not a lot of money. Today, miners are still getting much more in the rewards, in the arbitrary coin, in Bitcoins, than in fees. That has to change, because in the future, if we want to keep the hash rate high and the security of Bitcoin, the fees have to go up exponentially. I mean, I have to go to $100 per transaction, or $500 or $1,000 per transaction, just to keep the current hash rate. So it is important. So a lot of people are theorizing that the fee model may not work. So just because of these risks that the social layer has created by creating the Bitcoin coins and the ETC coins that are not the real BitGold, and because the fee model may or may not work, again, I think that both are going to work and they're going to be fine. But it's good to have this backup, in my opinion, and many cypherpunks think about it, and we've been debating this since I don't know, since me in my case, since 2015. And this is something that is always in the minds of cypherpunks because of these risks. It creates a parallel BitGold system that may live together with the current money. So this is my contribution, is this thing, instead of throwing away the old one and putting BitGold inside, I'm saying, okay, no, let's do a parallel. Let's continue, because it may work, the current monetary policy, and let's just give miners the option of freeing their BitGold by burning coins. That's my contribution to this idea, and it's less traumatic. Whether eventually all the ETC are transformed into BGUs or not is a free market choice. I said it before, you have a stock of ETC, we're going to free up all the BitGold, and then the miners are going to decide whether they want to convert, or not only that, they could actually sell their right to convert, and private investors could buy that like an option. And when they have the option, they can opt to get the coins and exchange them. So miners are going to have a very good business model there with options as well. Whether people build ingots and issue new BGU-backed coins is also a free market choice. No, so if people want to get a lot of NFTs, put them in a smart contract, and against those NFTs issue some other coin, like all the coins have been issued in Ethereum, ERC20 coins. That's great. They would be much better than ERC20 coins, because these would be backed by BGUs, by BitGold. Whether the BGU system will eventually replace the ETC currency is doubtful, because it seems that a perpetual option to transform ETC into BGU seems to prevent that. So imagine, let's go to extremes. Say that all the 210 million ETC are printed, are already issued. We are in the year 2140, and there's already the monetary policy ended, and all the 210 million ETC were paid for all the miners. But at the same time, we have all these 210 million NFTs also free, and the miners can choose. I think that the miners are not going to eventually migrate all the 210 million ETC into BitGold, because once you have this option, like a convertibility system in a country, you really lower the tension of the currency, of the fiat currency. And just because it has the option of being transformed, then people tend to consider the currency safe anyway. It's more or less like having gold in a vault in a bank and issuing dollars backed by that gold. Usually, 95% of the people, they just perpetually used the paper money to buy and sell things in the economy, and very few went actually to the bank saying, "Give me my gold," maybe in a crisis or something like that. So having the option already stabilizes the whole economy. No, the the fiat coins in a way that are backed, not they're not fiat, the coins that are backed by the Bit Gold, as long as that people can see that the protocol has that guarantee, then I think that both are going to coexist in the market. So this is not throw away one thing and do the other. The above parallel system may be implemented with smart contracts without a hard fork, so it is very cheap to launch if that's the option of the community. Actually, someone could do it now without the permission of the community or going through the ECIP system. I don't think that it's a good idea, because that system, then a lot of people could replicate it, and it's going to be worthless. Or it could be integrated as part of the base protocol, which I think would be a good idea to eventually do it. If we go perceiving that the risks of the social layer are going up in terms of risk, and that we need to reinforce the current monetary policy. Other than the BGU smart contracts with the characteristics above, all the other components, marketplace, ingot production, other coin issuance, could be left for others to build. Yeah, I think that the ETC community or the ecosystem, if this ever happens, to create the parallel system is enough. I think that the free market, now that the NFTs are so developed, etc., I think the free market is going to go and do the rest, the ingot production and all that. We can just leave the free market to do it. Could be left to others to build. The marketplace doesn't really have to be built from the get-go. I think we can leave the free market to do that if they wish. This is because one of the reasons Nick Szabo did not build and launch Bit Gold before was that there was no solution to the market problem. To the markets at the time were centralized, and there was no efficient way of trading the Bit Gold. So that was one of the reasons why he has said that Bit Gold didn't advance, and that's one of the reasons why also Bitcoin did the shortcut and just give an arbitrary amount of coins per block, not to avoid the need to create the market. Now those technologies exist, so now that problem is solved. But I think the free market should do it. What are the benefits of creating this system? One, it creates a parallel Bit Gold supply inside ETC, which is a much better monetary system because it is a perpetual issuance of BGUs per block, protecting the network from the social layer, and completely mimics the nature of gold in the physical world. So it's a better imitation of gold in that sense. It does so in a non-traumatic way, as the current ETC coin supply model continues uninterrupted. So we just create another system, and both can coexist, and they can coexist for hundreds of years. It provides a fallback mechanism to Bit Gold, back to Bit Gold, which Nick Szabo talked about in case the fee model doesn't work, or the community goes crazy, like in Ethereum and even in ETC, and they decide to change the coin supply again. So again, it's been proven that communities can change their monetary policies. I think that both Ethereum and ETC and Bitcoin has never changed it, but they're all going to ossify, and it's going to be extremely difficult to change the monetary policies in the future. But that, because it all depends on the social layer, it's still less secure than Bit Gold. How regarding the fee model, how it solves it is that if you have Bit Gold always created per block, then the miners don't need so desperately to get higher fees to be paid for their work. So Bit Gold is very likely going to continue to go up in terms of hash rate per block in the future, because everybody's going to want these scarce objects which are the Bit Gold inside ETC. So the fees are going to be less important than before, because if Bitcoin goes to zero, the reward per block, then the fees are totally important, and the same in ETC. In this case, there's always an issuance or a creation of Bit Gold per block, so it relieves the pressure to these systems to only compensate with fees in the future. It potentially reduces the supply or burns ETC. Well, yeah, this is a little bit tricky. Yes, the coin ETC is going to go down, but it's going to be because there's going to be a supply of Bit Gold. So it's not really, there is burning of the stock of ETC, that's true, but this is not the this is not the concept of Ethereum, that they wanted to burn it just to pump it. This doesn't really pump, because as you go burning ETC, you go getting the supply of a new kind of asset. It could make ETC go up whenever this is implemented, because it brings more security to the network, and because BitGold is much more sound money than the community tokens that we are issuing today. Conclusion: ETC, BTC, Ethereum are all community fiat systems on top of BitGold. No, you have the blocks, the block hashes; those are trapped, and we're issuing coins to pay to the miners. That's what I call fiat community, or community fiat system. Those community fiat coins have no backing other than the full faith and credit of the community, where the core developers, miners, and node operators are the state. This is what because fiat money is only issued by states, not by the governments. But a community fiat, it's because the community is very similar to the state, the roles of the state in this case. No? The BGU system provides a much more robust and real digital gold system for ETC. So this is my proposal. There's two more things that occur to me that would be problems to solve. One is that ETC has a stock. Currently there are 130 million ETC, but 70 million are from the pre-mine. So they were never created with work. They were just printed there like fiat money and created. So those are never going to be turned into BitGold. So if for some reason all the other ETC are turned into BitGold, those 70 million stock are going to just stay there perpetually like a token, just like a just made up token that was created in the pre-mine, but they will never have BitGold backing. The second thing is what happens to uncle blocks. So more or less 5% of blocks in ETC also have uncle blocks beside them, up to 2 uncle blocks per block. The incidence is more or less 5.4%. So of every 100 blocks that are created in ETC, more or less 5.4 blocks also have 2 more blocks that are uncle blocks. They are stale. They don't have any function in the network other than increase a little bit of the security, because it's work that has been done in those blocks, so increases the weight of the chain. And this was done because a technical issue that when Ethereum was launched in 2015, the blocks would be 15 seconds instead of 10 minutes like in Bitcoin. So the incidence of more than one miner creating a valid block was going to be higher than in Bitcoin, and because if many miners were creating valid blocks and only one, say that 3 blocks would be created at some point, and the three are valid, and only one gets chosen as the mainnet, and the other 2 are created as uncles, and they were not compensated. This in theory could have be a disincentive for miners to work so much, because if the incidence of these like blocks and uncle blocks would be very high, then they would be spending a lot of energy for blocks that they were not going to get paid for. So that could have lowered the hash rate. Now today we've seen that was not the case. It was something theoretical, and that's why it was created. But the thing is that ETC has that in the protocol, and 5% of the blocks have uncle blocks, and they get some compensation. So they've been getting compensation because of these reasons since the beginning. So there's also a stock, so 5.4% of the blocks also issued some ETC. It must be, no, say, a million or 2 million ETC that are also there that would that some they need to get something. So because those uncle blocks, even though they're not part of the mainnet, but they actually did a lot of work to be created, my idea is to give them also their bit gold. So it's going to be another million or 2 million bit gold. I don't know exactly how many uncle blocks exist, but let's say it's a million or 2 million. So that would create another stock of bit gold for them. But it would be with the same conditions. Whatever compensation they got for those uncle blocks, if they want to free up their BGUs, they have to get that same amount of money and burn it to be able to free their BGU. So that's my solution for that. Okay, thank you very much. And this was the explanation of my idea of creating parallel BitGold inside ETC. Bye-bye.